Anyone who's been a follower of the streams for a while now know that I'm quite the collector of watches, and some of my favorites actually happen to come from Japan. And if you are planning a trip to Japan, definitely worth paying a visit to places like the Seiko Museum and doing some shopping at various duty-free outlets. You know, if you're taking a day trip to Mount Fuji, Seiko's got a fantastic boutique at the Gotemba Premium Outlets. But yeah, there's a lot of places. There's also some fantastic micro brands, like Kuoe Kyoto. They make modern versions of these old Smith's watches. They've got a really fantastic one called the Royal Smith. But yeah, there's just so many places to go, so many things to check out when it comes to buying either new or vintage watches. But this is interesting. This is the Ultimate Japan Watch Guide: Where to Buy Vintage and Modern Watches in Tokyo and Osaka. Let's take a look. 3, 2, 1, go.
So you might have booked that trip to Japan, or maybe you're in Japan right now and you're asking yourself, where do you find the best watch deals in Japan? Well, we at the Japanese
Easier than you think.
have that covered for you. We're going to be doing this videos. We're going to be going over all the best places where you can find the best watch deals.
Okay, this should be interesting.
So for the first segment of the video, we'll go over the cheapest and most affordable way of obtaining.
Okay, we've got flea markets, thrift shops, retail chains, watch hotspots, hidden gems, and last-minute shopping. Okay, this seems like a fairly decent guide that they've built out just from the segments alone.
Watches in Japan. As the video goes on, the prices of these watches will go higher as we head into luxury watch territory. So if you're looking to find Japan domestic watches for very cheap, the flea markets is where you want to go. Now, if you're familiar with our channel, we have been to many flea markets extensively, so I would suggest checking those videos out if you're curious. But let's start off with the biggest flea market in Tokyo, the Tokyo City Flea Market. This flea market is taking place at a parking lot in front of a horse racing course. I know, weird. But this flea market in particular has been making around.
So you Uma Musume fans would be right at home in a place like this.
It's all over the internet, so it has gradually turned into a tourist destination.
I say you Uma Musume fans, I'm also a fan of Uma Musume, so I would be right home here. Oh, that's interesting. Square-dialed Seiko with an integrated bracelet.
But in terms of watches, it is still quite abundant and also very cheap. What I like about the flea market is that you're always able to haggle depending on the person. Sometimes you might get a good deal, but don't push your luck too much. I feel like during these past 2 years,
well, you have to be careful when negotiating with the Japanese. They tend to offer a really fair price up front. And in an atmosphere like this, you can haggle. Just don't get too aggressive about it and don't do it too much. Keep your counter offers reasonable. You know, keep it within the ballpark of each other. Don't insult them with any sort of offers, because that's a great way for them to just sort of walk away and you're left with nothing. And who knows, you might even be asked to leave.
Years, the amount of watch sellers have tripled in size, so you'll be guaranteed to find some amazing watches, but just be wary that not all these watches might be in the best condition. I would say if you're picking up a watch or two, be prepared to spend at least $100 to $200. I also want to take the moment to mention
fair price for a nice vintage watch, I suppose.
Japan Samurai Treasures. They have a phenomenal selection of vintage watches. We've partnered with them, and if you use the code JPFactory at checkout or just mention the Japanese factory sent you, you'll get 10% off your order. We also get a kickback from every order, so we will definitely love the support and go check them out. If you're out during the weekend in Tokyo, more often than not, you will find these flea markets popping up here and there. So it's always a good opportunity to dig through and find these watches. Here are other flea markets I would like to mention. The Mottainai Japan Flea Market is another massive flea market that occurs every other weekend in Nakano. And they usually have a pretty good selection of watches.
Yeah, Nakano seems to be the place to go when you're looking for good quality secondhand goods in Tokyo. Oh, look at that Citizen. Oh, Citizen 7-star. Looks like it's got a day-date functionality there too. It's rather well worn, but still looks to be in decent nick.
And another one that we actually went to recently is the Yokohama Arena Flea Market, but that doesn't happen as often
interesting.
as the other flea markets. So if you're short on time and you're only
Indoors,
traveling
it's
to
air
Tokyo for a few
conditioned.
days, I would
That's
ignore all the
nice.
other flea markets and just go to the big city flea market because it is the best one. Definitely go plan a day or two just for that flea market. Trust
Interesting. Looks like possible GMT functionality on that one.
me, it's worth it.
Okay, thrift shops. Wonder if he's going to mention
So the
book
next
off or
segment
hobby
we're
off.
heading into is thrift shops. If you've ever gone thrifting in Japan, you will know that it's no joke. This
It's
is
so
where you
much
can find
fun,
a lot of
though.
amazing
It's
deals
so
on
much fun.
clothing. But you might be asking yourself, how are the watches? Well, I'll explain. I'll first like to bring up the biggest recycle shop in Japan, and that will be Hard Off, Book Off, Mode Off,
Yes!
and Hobby Off. Yeah, the shop name is
Mentioned
a
it.
little weird, but it's weird enough to stand out from the rest. These shops are practically everywhere in Japan, so always
They are
try to
so much
test
fun
your
to
luck
rummage through.
whenever finding these. Be careful, as not all book offs will carry watches, but from what I
Uh-oh.
have experienced, you can find watches at Hard Off, Book Off Plus or Book Off Bazaar, and Mode Off, which is more catered towards fashion. If you want the best watch selection, try to go to the major stores in Tokyo, or if you have time, try to explore the countryside of Japan, as they carry
make a
a
day
lot
trip
more
out of
hidden
it.
gems. I found many exclusive Japanese watches you won't find anywhere else.
Now, these G-Shocks, especially with the whatever coating or treatment that the case and the bracelets have, this is... You definitely do not see these every day. Prices are not bad either. Let's see, 38,000 yen? Let's do a quick currency conversion. Let's see. 30,000 yen, that's just under $200 US, at about 142 pounds. So, and looks like they're taking an additional 30% off. So, if we do 38,000 times 0.3, that's 11,400. So that knocks it down to about 26,600 yen. And that translates into $169 or 126 pounds. But a Casio G-Shock like that, that's pretty damn good. That's a pretty damn good deal. I would jump on one of those. I don't know if I'd go for one of these red numbers here. Might go for this silver, because that's a bit more expensive, 50,000 yen. Well, these prices, they are really not bad.
As for the pricing, not as cheap as things you'll find at the flea market, but the
No, they've
benefit
got
of
rent to
shopping
pay
at a
for.
Hard Off means that the staff has taken good care of these watches and replaced the battery. It's practically brand new because most Japanese people take good care of their things.
They really
Other
do.
thrift shops that I would like to mention
If
is
you're going to
Second
buy
Street,
something
which is mostly
secondhand, buy it in
fashion-oriented.
Japan.
You'll find a lot more fashion watches, some G-Shocks, and maybe if you're even lucky, some Swiss brands. But Second Street isn't very known for watches. Another thrift shop that is lesser known is the Treasure Factory. This is very similar to Hard Off,
Treasure
but not many
Factory.
shops that are available in the Tokyo area.
Must be a
Still very
smaller
fun to look
outfit.
through. Obviously, even though thrift shops are used items, they are still very pricey in comparison to the flea market. But if you're basing it off of retail prices, what you'll find in the thrift shop
Yeah, 1,900 yen, 3,300 yen.
is a lot more
I mean, those prices, I don't know, you might be able to get a brand new Casio for that much. You might as well, too.
more affordable and still in very good condition.
All right, next segment. The retail chains. Okay, so we're probably talking about Yodobashi Camera, Bic Camera, those sorts of places, maybe Don Quixote. Donkey,
Okay, I'll stop. Let's talk
Quixote.
about the big retail chain. Don Quixote, Yodobashi, Big Camera, and
Yeah.
Edion. These shops are pretty much
Oh, yeah,
the
Edion, I forgot
staple
about
of
that one.
Japanese retail shops. They literally sell everything and anything, and watches are
They
no
really do.
exception. Let's go through
Anything and everything you can think of in terms of watches, booze, electronics, toys, model kits. There's so many things. It's like the ultimate grown-up toy store.
Don Quixote, or Donkey. You'll find plenty of JDM watches like Seiko, Casio, and Citizen at reasonable prices. If you're looking for souvenirs,
bad.
this is a pretty
19,200?
fun shop, though it's not ideal if you want a more relaxed shopping experience.
No, it can be quite hectic in there. That's For a calmer shopping experience, it gets a little bit better going to Bic Camera or Yodobashi or Edion, but yeah, it's crowded and it's very high energy in there.
Depending on which Don Quixote you go to, the watch selection may differ. However, most Donki should have.
This is some nice looking Seiko 5s that they've got. And it looks like a lot of these, you've got like Batman dial, Hulk dial versions. I think I saw, this one looks to be a purple and blue version. I've not seen that before. It must be a limited edition sort. Oh yeah, you've got Seiko 5s with GMT complications. 48,000 yen. Cutting exchange rates, that's... For a brand new watch, that's not terrible. Especially if you get a GMT complication with it. Yeah. And it's that iconic SKX design. And several of these come with Jubilee bracelets. I mean, that's still incredible value for money.
A pretty decent selection. I recommend the one in Shibuya or Shinjuku. Next, I want to highlight Yodobashi, Bic Camera, and Edion. These shops are all very similar in popularity and can be found practically everywhere in Japan, no matter where you are. What's great—
Oh, those are the... This is a series from Citizen called the Suyosa. Expensive. 43, 46, 50,000 yen. That's I don't know, a bit much for this particular watch. It's a beautiful design, sort of integrated bracelet, sportier watch. I would wait for the sale, though. I would wait for it to go on sale.
Great about these stores is that they offer member discounts. If you sign up into their app, you can get exclusive coupon codes that you can use towards watches.
Lovely.
10% might not seem like it's a lot, but if you're buying something expensive like a watch, those coupons can go a long way. You can also fill up on points on their apps when purchasing watches, which comes in handy for your next watch purchase in the future. We also cannot forget to mention that tourists that travel in Japan get 10% tax-free as well.
Yes.
So definitely try to abuse the system that you are given. As for the best location for Yodobashi, the Yodobashi Shinjuku Watch Pavilion is pretty much where you'll find all the best JDM brands at a very affordable price.
A watch pavilion. It's not just a watch section, they've got an entire pavilion devoted to watches. It's Valhalla, if you're a watch enthusiast.
Edion is a lesser known brand, but their watch world in Akihabara was very surprising, so if you're ever in Akihabara, go check that out. If you're looking for modern watches from
like a
Japanese
fancy watch
brands,
boutique.
these are all good places to go, as they have a lot better deals brand new than some of the boutiques that will come up later in the video. So before we head into the next segment, I would like to mention that we have created our very own Ultimate Watch Guide of Japan. This downloadable guide will include tons of watch stores spread across Japan that our staff personally recommends. To get access to this, you must be a Patreon subscriber or make a one-time purchase from Patreon or Shopify. This guide is perfect for those who want all their information in one file. We'll also include a Notion link, which makes it easier to parse through the information, and the best of all, this guide will constantly be updated as time goes on.
Oh,
if you want to have access to this guide and also support the channel, please check the description down below. We took a lot of time to make this, and we would love to support your next trip to Japan.
Lovely. Well done. Alright. Tokyo Watch Hotspots. Looks like we're paying a visit to Nakano Broadway.
We'll go over 2 watch hotspots, Nakano Broadway and
Yeah.
Ginza. We actually already have guide videos for these, but if you don't feel like watching that, let me summarize it for you. Nakano Broadway is a must-visit for serious watch collectors. This legendary mall is packed with nostalgia and watches of every type for an...
Yeah, I can confirm, having been through Nakano Broadway myself. Yes, this is what you can expect. These Grand Seikos, these prices, they're not cheap, but it's also not bad either for probably the best engineered quartz watches in the world. Just hands down, bar none, best quartz watches. They make their own quartz crystals in-house. Everything is manufactured and assembled in-house. These are the sorts of watches that are made by the very best of the best watchmakers in Seiko. It's the best. And honestly, the fit and finish would put even Rolex to shame, in my view.
price. Now, it is true that a lot of the watch prices in Nakano Broadway have fluctuated over the years, but that's
Oh, look at that old chronograph. Amazing.
due to the demand and, well, the yen being pretty bad. But
Yes.
even if you spend a lot of money on a watch here, it is nearly impossible to find counterfeit watches. Everything here is genuine and you won't be scammed, unlike other parts of the world.
Yeah, that's also something that's a big consolation of shopping in Japan, is counterfeiting is not really a thing. If you were to go shopping in some place like Hong Kong, especially mainland China, and some other parts of the world, yeah, you might get scammed and get a fake. But here, you can rest assured that 99% of the time, you are dealing with a genuine article.
Let's go through some of the watch shops I would like to highlight. Fire Kids is one of our favorite stores in all of
I think I
Nakano
remember
Broadway,
Fire Kids.
especially if you are a JDM aficionado. Every watch in here is from 2005 and below, and you won't believe all the vintage Seikos that they have here. Most of them are overhauled,
amazing.
so even if it is a vintage watch, all if not most of these watches are in working condition. Jack Road and Betty is
Wonderful.
the most iconic watch shop of Nakano Broadway. It's been here since the inception of
I
the
also
mall
remember this
opening
one.
up. This is perfect if you're looking for modern and vintage Swiss watches, but their Japanese watch selection is quite small in comparison. They definitely have the
Oh,
best
that's all
selection of
right.
watches in all of Nakano. Some of these watches are in such good condition that they honestly just belong in the museum.
That is incredible.
Some of these watches are in such good condition that they honestly just belong in the museum.
Especially some of these Rolex Daytonas. I mean, look at these things. These are some ultra rare versions that they've got in this display case. Commands a hefty price, too. 63,800,000 yen. Let's do the currency conversion on that real quick, chat. Hang on. 63,800,000. Yeah, this Rolex Daytona here with all of the gold and all of the bling, that translates to $406,980 US, or just over £300,000 for that Rolex Daytona right there.
The second time I've had to reclaim my property from you.
That belongs in a museum.
So do you.
Cube Style and Nakano Vintage Mall is where you'll find the best deals in all of Nakano.
Oh,
However,
yeah. Oh, look at
treat
that
it
pocket
like the
watch.
flea market, as a lot of the watches in these two stores can be quite questionable. These stores don't really deal with expensive Swiss watches, and sometimes they are in such bad condition they are
Oh, dear.
considered undesirable. Cube Style is something I would recommend more than Nakano Vintage Mall, as a
Oh, these old style Seikos. Oh, these are from the 1960s. Amazing. 12,800 yen for this one right here. Absolutely classic design.
watches in these glass cases tend to have good selection of watches, especially the one facing the main hallway. And finally, I would like to highlight Tokizaemon, which is a store that needs more love as it holds
Look at that antique Seikosha wall clock. Ray, thank you for the hydrate and stretch redeems. That right there is a genuine collector's item. This one does indeed belong in a museum. That is gorgeous.
only Japanese brands. The overall vibe of this store is phenomenal, as they use old Edo period furniture, which ties up the store aesthetic nicely. They also hold
Incredible.
Japan-made microbrands, which is not easily obtainable in Tokyo. The only catch is that this store is a bit of a walk away from the
Oh, it's an old King Seiko. Yeah, fun little bit of trivia chat. Before the Grand Seiko line debuted, they had a competing line of premium watches at Seiko called the King Seiko. And for a long time, they were in competition together. King Seiko fell by the wayside for a little while, but Grand Seiko remained.
Broadway itself, but Tokizaemon is a new watch store that we really wanted to showcase for you guys.
Glad you did. These are
While
gorgeous.
Nakano Broadway is more focused on vintage watches, Ginza is for people that love modern watches.
Latest
with
and the greatest.
a few vintage stores sprinkled in. If you already know what watches you want, the brands you like, chances are Ginza might be the place for you. Ginza is home to one of the most watch boutiques in the world.
Look at that
So
old
every
fair
brand
lady
that you
said.
can think of pretty much have their own boutique with the best service you can experience.
Rolex, Richard Mille, Patek Philippe, Jaeger LeCoultre, Tudor, Breitling. Yeah, these are some primo brands, all right.
If it's your first time in Japan or you've never been to Ginza before, these are the stores that I would suggest. The first stop has to be the Wako building. You literally
Of
cannot miss
course.
this place as it is the clock tower right in the heart of Ginza. If you're ever
Yes.
planning on buying a Grand Seiko, this store might be the best place to do it, as you can find models that are exclusive only to this store. Also, if you check out the second floor, it could be quite fun as it has a little museum where it tells you a little bit about Seiko's brand, and you can find a section where they sell Credor, which you don't really see in other retail.
Yeah, Credo is actually the rarest of rare Seikos. They are like, if Grand Seiko was supposed to be the flagship watches, Credo is the crown jewel. These are usually, you've got watchmakers with 20 plus years experience exclusively working on these specific watches. Super rare. They may only make probably not even 100, maybe a few dozen, or just a single batch of a dozen watches at most. And these are more expensive than a Rolex, a Breitling, any of those other primo Swiss brands that we saw. You know, we're talking about watches made out of, with gold casings, really intricate, complicated movements, going for as much as 5 or 6 figures in US dollars or British pounds sterling. Credo is actually most famous in recent years for a watch that they made called a minute repeater, which was a mechanical watch with a chiming functionality, sort of like how a wall clock or a grandfather clock would have chimes that would strike, you know, on the quarter hour, on the hour. Well, watchmakers figured out long ago how to miniaturize that sort of functionality and put that into a wristwatch. And Credo had one. I remember it had brown alligator leather strap, rose gold casing. It was a skeleton watch too, so the dial was transparent. You could see all of the gears and everything moving. And there was this little extra button, and you press it, and all of a sudden you hear this gentle little chime telling you what the hour was and the minutes as well. It was such an absolute work of art. And I think they only made like less than a dozen of those. Each of them was well over $100,000 US. All of them now, I mean, given the rarity, given that they've only gone up in value, I think they've become collector's items to the tune of well over $1 million. They're just absolutely incredible what Credo is able to put out there. Genuine works of art.
Stores. Right next to the building is the Seiko Dream Square. This space is dedicated for more of the casual Seiko fans. This is also a lot more affordable than what you'll find in the Wako building. Inside here, you'll find Seiko 5.
I think that's the remnants of the Seiko Museum when they relocated to Ginza. So you may still find some artifacts from the history of Seiko. I can't be 100% sure on that, but at one point, the Seiko Museum had, as part of its traveling exhibit, a pendulum mechanism that would serve as the prototype for Big Ben in London. They still have it in their collection. And here's what's even more incredible, chat. It still works. Like, it was in working, functional order both times when I walked through the exhibit, on my first trip and also on my second trip. It's absolutely amazing. It's so simple. It was just this little prototype to figure out how to get the whole pendulum mechanism working and keep it going. And by Jove, it actually worked. And it still works to this day. And so if you get a chance, see it. And it's something you could just stare at it for hours.
Seiko Prospex, and Astron, and of course, our main man Shohei Ohtani, who haunts us in our dreams. Another little side
Oh
quest
yeah,
for
Shohei Ohtani. He's one of the spokesmen for Seiko these days.
those who love watches, especially Seiko watches, is the Seiko Museum. It's an absolute gem. Inside, you can learn about
Oh, good. Okay, they preserved everything. Oh, look at. Oh, I remember this one. The Timetron. It was one of their first forays into digital watches. And honestly, it looks like an old Macintosh computer.
the entire history of Japanese watchmaking. I cannot recommend this place enough.
Yes,
You might have to
go
reserve
there,
in
chat.
advance to get in, but it is definitely worth the time. Just know that
Yes. Go here. The Seiko Museum in Ginza. Go there, chat. You will not regret it. It is so... Even if you're not a watch enthusiast, it is just so much fun and so fascinating. You will have a good time. You will absolutely have a good time.
you won't be able to take home any of the watches in the museum. If you're not that big a fan of Seiko, we always have Citizen, and the Citizen flagship store located in Ginza is also very good. Unlike the Citizen store located in Ginza,
And Citizen has expanded in a similar way to Swatch Group. These brands that you see on the wall, Alpina, Arnold and Son, Belova, Campanola, Frederic Constant, they are all part of the Citizen Group. They're all owned by Citizen.
is also very good. Unlike the Citizen stores that you'll find in department stores, you'll be able to find their entire lineup. The Eco Drive, the Citizen, Campanola, pieces that don't show up outside of Japan. I think a lot of people tend to think about Seiko when they first hear Japanese watches, but the Citizen flagship
It's
store
easy to do.
is super worth it. It is such an amazing store that everyone should go check out. Give a little love to Citizen because they make great products. Now,
They
I don't want to
really
spend
do.
too much time on vintage watches.
Citizens are kind of underrated, really, because they're quite excellent watches. And that new Suyosa line that they've unveiled in recent years is just an absolute thing of beauty. They've even got their own competitor line to Grand Seiko called The Citizen, and it's the dials are absolutely fascinating. They are made with a layer of washi paper, so very very steeped in Japanese traditional crafts, even with their more premium watches. They're all quartz, so they're much like the Grand Seiko quartz line. Roughly the same price, maybe just a little bit cheaper, but stunningly beautiful watches.
In Ginza, as we already have a video dedicated to that, but let's mention these three watch shops. First off, you have Ginza Resin, which is a great spot to go to if you love pre-owned luxury watches. If you're interested in spending tons of money on these high-end Swiss brands, you can probably find a good deal in Ginza Resin. The selection here is incredible, and if you are willing to put down the money for these things, I highly recommend Ginza Resin. Anything in the higher echelon of watch collecting, this is pretty much a place to find the best deals. The next shop is called Shellman, which is kind of a legend on its own. They specialize in the real classics like 40s to 50s Rolex, Patek Philippe, you name it.
Oh my,
It almost
those are rare finds. I mean, we're talking genuine collector's items.
feels like an antique shop more than the watch shop, but it's
Yeah.
incredible to see all these watches still in working condition. They
That is
also have their own
amazing.
watch brand that is only exclusive in Japan, so maybe
The Grand Complication. Oh, it's a moon phase. Those of you who don't know what that means, there's this little dial. You see it right here on each of these watches. It shows the various phases of the moon. So like half moon, waning gibbous, that sort of thing, full moon. It's this really slow rotating dial designed to track the phases of the moon. It even looks like, is that? Okay, yeah, it's showing the months of the year, the days of the week. Okay, so this is not just a moon phase watch. This is a perpetual calendar as well. So you have watches that have a date functionality. Usually it's just a simple date wheel. Changes up every 24 hours. You normally have to move it a day in advance whenever you encounter, the month of February or a month where there's only 30 days rather than 31. There's also the day-date complication, which not only shows you the date of the month, but also the day of the week. And then, on top of that, you've got what's known as the perpetual calendar, which will not only show you the date, the day of the week, but also the month of the year. These are incredibly complicated watches that we're looking at here, chat, and an absolute feat of engineering. Honestly, I kind of want one. If I'm being honest, I would love to have one of these. Oh, this is so beautiful.
Maybe it might be a fun look through if you're curious on what kind of watches they make. If you're looking for something more nitty gritty like Nakano Broadway, I think Watch CTI is worth checking out. Watch CTI might be a little intimidating as it is a little bit out of the way from all the main stores in Ginza.
Yeah, it's basement level. It looks like it's in some sort of back alley somewhere. The whole vibe's a bit sus on the outside, but I'm sure on the inside it's rather nice.
Once you go down the dark staircase and open the door, you're met with
Seiko Laurel Alpinist.
a bunch of vintage Japanese watches that you most likely won't see anywhere else. I would suggest taking a look at their website before going to
King Seiko chronometers?
the store so you can understand what they deal with. I would say it's one of the best places if you love vintage JDM watches. One last tip about Ginza: if you're already hunting for a specific model online, don't just stop at Chrono24 or the big Japanese e-commerce sites. A lot of the time, those same watches are actually sitting in shops right here in Ginza. With a quick Google search, you can usually figure out which store is holding it, and then you can go buy it directly from the seller. It does take a little bit of work, but it is definitely worth it if you want that dream watch of yours.
Nothing ventured, nothing gained. Alright, segment 5, Hidden Gems. This should be good.
Before we head on to the next segment of the video, I just want to highlight some shops within Japan. Osaka isn't very known for vintage watches in general, and I feel like you'll have a better shot of finding deals in Tokyo. But if you love vintage watches as a whole, this shop is definitely one of the places that you should go to in Osaka. The people working here are extremely friendly and they know a lot about watches. Also, the store itself is pure.
Oh, that's neat. Look at that old Casio there. Couple of nice looking old Casios. Vintage Casio digital watches, those are always fun to look at and to collect, especially if they're in good working order.
Insanity. If you want a very unique experience and also maybe walk out with an interesting vintage watch, definitely go check out this shop.
Definitely put
Next
a lot
to
of work
Osaka
in that
is
moustache.
Kyoto. Kyoto also doesn't have much of a watch scene, but a new micro brand named Cool has been dominating
God,
the
he
micro
mentioned
brand
it.
scene here in Japan. The shop is located in a quiet area in Kyoto, and their watches
As you would
are
expect.
all inspired by vintage watches. When it comes to buying vintage watches, there's always a risk of these watches not working properly or having some sort of damage. But if you love the aesthetics behind old vintage watches, Cool might be the place to go. Not only that these watches
Yes.
are very affordable, it is an amazing gift or memento of your trip in Kyoto. There was
Definitely. And the prices are really not bad.
actually an announcement that Cool will be making their own store here in Tokyo in the future
Oh,
as well.
that's
So definitely
fantastic.
try to check that out if you're watching this video many months into the future. Lastly, one of my favorite watch shops in all of Tokyo is Mizutani Camera. Mizutani Camera is
I love the vibe of this place. Definitely got kind of old Showa era vibes. Sort of place kind of nestled off the beaten path, away from the tourists that you kind of have to be in the know to know about.
located in Ueno Ameyokocho, a drinking street of the area. Ueno does actually have a lot of vintage watch stores, but this is the one that I would highlight from the rest. If you love King Seiko watches or even unusual Japanese watches that have never been released outside of Japan, this place is awesome. The general aesthetic of
Genuine
the store
hidden
remind me
gems.
of an older time in Tokyo, and the place is just awesome
Yeah.
overall as the store owner is very knowledgeable and has a really good sense in collecting these pieces.
I love those sort of tank style watches that they've got. I'm sure those are Seikos and not Cartiers. Frankly, I think I'd rather have the Seiko than the Cartier.
If you love Japanese vintage, you honestly cannot miss this place. And
Oh, look at that old Tudor. Rolex Submarinas. Amazing.
maybe in the future, we'll do a deep dive of this shop.
Honestly, if I ever were to buy a Rolex, I'd probably get one from a shop like this. Definitely would not buy new. I would buy an old one. I'd probably buy one from a reliable secondhand shop like one of these. Ah, the last minute bargains. Here we go.
So the final segment is for those who have decision paralysis and have left it to the final moments to purchase your dream watch. One thing that people tend to not mention is that you still have time to buy a watch before you leave the country. If we are going purely off of convenience and not pricing, I think the best bet will be some of the watch stores inside the major airports. For example,
that's true. You can still find some fairly decent deals and good duty-free shopping at Haneda or Narita Airport. In fact, I remember first time I was in a layover at Narita, they had a watch and electronics shop. I think it was called Akihabara. So definitely trying to capture the vibe and sort of give people that micro experience of well, you maybe stuck in the airport and you want to go shop in Akihabara, but you can't. So we'll bring a little bit of Akihabara to you, and they did.
Airport Terminal 1 has a Wako store, which specializes in Seiko and other watches. Narita Airport Terminal 2 has a place called Move, which handles watches from all over the world. And the Kansai International Airport, which has a Grand Seiko pop-up in the terminal.
Oh, that is posh. Kansai Airport is in Osaka. That's really something when they can manage a Grand Seiko pop-up shop.
Well, but one place a lot of guides don't mention is outlet malls that are scattered all across Japan. A lot of these malls have Seiko and Citizen outlets, and there are always
Granberry Mitsui outlet. Okay, this one's new. I've never heard of this one.
It's sold in a very affordable price. These places are a little bit harder to access, and not a lot of tourists tend to go out there to find great watch deals.
That's okay. This is a place for the locals. Other places you might pay the gaijin markup. This place is priced. This is what the locals would pay for a good deal on watches.
But my recommendation for our outlet mall is the Granbury Park Mall, which is only a 30-minute train ride away from Haneda. So
that's not bad. Half an hour's train trip from Haneda, and you can get away from the gaijin markups and shop like a local. I like that. I would make that trip.
It's definitely worth going if you have the time and if you want to save a little bit of money. Well, you made it to the end of the video. I know it was a little bit on the longer side, but hopefully it gave you some useful info for finding your dream watch here in Japan. As I mentioned earlier, if you...
Oh, these are beautiful Seikos. It's a tank-style Seiko with an integrated bracelet. Lord Quartz from 1978. I'd like that. And it's got a day-date functionality. I like that even more.
Like a condensed, downloadable version of everything I covered in this video and some more, definitely check out our Patreon. And one more thing, if you're hunting for a specific watch, swing by our website, thejapanesefactory.com, and send us a custom request. We love to help track down the piece you're looking for. Thanks again for watching, and good luck on your watch hunting journey in Japan.
This was a really good video. This is really helpful. That is a very interesting watch. Nice ball. And a Bertucci. Bertucci field watch. Oh. That is a smart looking Seiko 5. And that Hamilton is not bad either. Oh. The Orient Komatsu. That is one of my favorites. I'd love to get one in blue. Or maybe the teal dial. I really don't know. Alright. We are subscribing to them. We've given them a like. And we are also going to drop the link in chat. This is fantastic content from the Japanese factory. Definitely go give them a follow. Watch some of their content.